Chairman, congratulations. You have now two chairmanships on this.
I'm telling you.
Congratulations. I want to thank Ranking Member Stanton as well, and thank you for holding this timely hearing on the state of the federal real estate. So recent administration actions to reduce both telework and the federal real estate footprint have created confusion and upheaval within the federal real estate landscape. And the proposed changes have the potential to have a negative impact on the workforce, on communities where the workforce lives, the private sector landlords, and on construction contractors. Now, the GSA owns 1,500 buildings and has about 7,500 private sector leases. And according to press reports, the administration plans to reduce GSA's owned and leased portfolio by 50%. In justifying this push for property disposals, GSA's new Public Buildings Commissioner has pointed to, quote, guidance from the 2024 WRDA bill, which many of us worked on. But WRDA did not direct the GSA to jump immediately to large-scale disposals. The WRDA bill directed GSA and OMB to work with agencies to measure building occupancy over a 2-month period before making any recommendations for space disposals. Congress gave GSA steps 1 through 5, but GSA is skipping from step 1 directly to step 5. That is causing confusion and chaos in the federal real estate market. The lease terminations are happening quickly, and at the same time as there's a return to office mandate, as well as the firings, as well as the RIFs. But how can an agency know how much space they require if they don't know how many employees they will have? The only certainty we have is a certain lack of clarity from the administration. These actions are reckless and potentially very costly for taxpayers. For example, last week, the National Transportation Safety Board was notified that its lease was going to be terminated in 4 months. It's my understanding, although we don't have any proof of this in writing, it's my understanding the termination decision has now been reversed. It is fortunate that the NTSB was not put in this position of having only 4 months to move not just their offices, but their laboratory space, while also investigating 1,195 transportation accidents and incidents at the same time, including the recent mid-air collision near Reagan National Airport. After consistently declining to provide staff with information about building disposals, late yesterday, GSA shared a list of 400 plus, quote, non-core assets being considered for divestment from government ownership. The list included the Bonneville Power Administration, or BPA, headquarters building in Portland. Now, many utilities in Washington State and throughout the Pacific Northwest, including the largest public utility in my district, get large amounts of their power from their BPA system. The selling the building would be very disruptive to BPA's operations and therefore to ratepayers throughout the Pacific Northwest, especially disruptive to all the employees who have been ordered to return to work, to work in the office, which is fine, and I support that they do that, but they need a place to go to. Now, BPA leases the building from the GSA and pays for the lease with ratepayer money, not taxpayer money. I pay for the lease space at BPA because I pay rates to my public utility district. I don't think anyone else in this room does that. Selling this building would not lead to taxpayer savings from the BPA budget. People are confused about GSA's activities, and Congress has little visibility into what exactly GSA is doing, and I don't know if GSA knows what it is doing. My own staff is largely getting news of GSA activities from the press, from a Reddit thread titled GSA RIF Megathread. You'll never hear me say that again. And occasionally from ex-GSA employees. One building owner was told that GSA was terminating a lease, but because that lease was still in its because the lease was still in its firm term, GSA was obligated to pay for the space until 2029. GSA's actions have led to confusion amongst the project managers, general contractors, and engineers who are working on construction projects for GSA's public building service. GSA recently rescinded the P100 facility standards, which established the design, architecture, engineering, fire protection, historic preservation, and performance requirements for new buildings and major repair and alteration projects. How does this rescission of the design standards impact construction and renovation projects? Do they need to be redesigned? Do contracts need to be redrafted? Delay and risk are challenging for contractors and expensive for the government and therefore for taxpayers. On January 24th, GSA paused all acquisitions and lease activities, including the National Deep Energy Retrofit Program. And according to one publicly traded energy company, the current NDER pause may have detrimental impacts on projects currently in construction. We, that is this company, have spent substantial sums on project design, engineering, material procurement, and employee hiring. A prolonged pause of these projects will negatively impact business investment and chill business certainty. So I too am disappointed that Mr. Peters is not with us today, but I do have some questions that we are sending to him. If agency headcounts are in flux, how does GSA know how much space agencies need? Does GSA have the funding and authority to pay expenses associated with closing offices, eliminating leases, and relocating agencies to new space? As GSA cuts its own budget and staff, who's going to do the labor-intensive work of terminating leases and relocating agencies? Is GSA going to hire contractors to replace federal employees? So Director Maroney and Mr. Winstead, I hope you can answer some of these questions. I don't expect you to be able to answer all those questions, but based on your experience, I hope we can get some insight into that. I look forward to your testimony and hope you'll be able to answer some of my questions. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields.